Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Township of Adelaide Metcalfe Council meeting. It's Monday, June the 21st at 7 p.m. Sorry, July the 21st. I lost a month there. I'd like to welcome everyone who's in the gallery here tonight. It's nice to see some of our ratepayers out. That's very good to see. I'd like to call the meeting to order at this time. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none then, you have the agenda before you. We have a recommendation that the agenda for July 21st, 2025 meeting of council be approved. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Kingma. All in favor? And that's carried. You've had time to read the minutes of the previous meeting of June the 16th. Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, then we have a recommendation that the minutes of the Adelaide Metcalfe special meeting of council held on June 16th, 2025 be adopted as printed. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Brody, seconded by Councillor Kingma. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, we are now going to move into our delegations and timed events. We have a recommendation that council convene into a public meeting at 7:02 p.m. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Kingma, seconded by Councillor McKinnon. All in favor? And that's carried. The purpose of the upcoming public meeting is to provide council and the general public an opportunity to hear from all interested parties regarding the applications being discussed this evening. The public is advised that comments expressed and written material presented are a matter of public record available for full disclosure. If a person or public body does not speak to the application at the public meeting or make written submissions to the township, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the council decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal or be added as a party to an appeal of the decision to the tribunal. If you wish to be notified of the decision in writing, please submit a written request to the clerk. So at this time, I will turn the meeting over to Ashley Sawyer, our planner, to go through the application. Ashley, over to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor Clark. So I'm just going to share my screen so you're able to see the application, the location map. Can everyone see that okay? So the subject lands are located at the northwest intersection of Center Road, which is County Road 91, and Mullaferry Drive, which is also known as County Road 33. The lands have a municipal address of 28537 Center Road and are locally known as the former location of the restaurant Amy's Place. The lands are approximately 3.31 acres in size and contain an existing one-story structure that is oriented towards Center Road. The lands are designated in the Adelaide Metcalfe official plan as commercial corridor and are noted as a priority employment area. They are also zoned in the Adelaide Metcalfe zoning bylaw as commercial corridor. The lands are currently serviced by both the municipal water and sanitary connection, and they do have an existing access to both Center Road and Mullaferry Drive. No new access or municipal service connection is proposed at this point in time. So the purpose of this temporary use zoning bylaw amendment is to temporarily rezone the subject lands to permit for a portion of the existing 25,000 square foot building to be used for an auxiliary retail use. This will be to the permitted warehouse and office use. The retail use will be for toys, collectibles, and related merchandise for the business Sad Nuggies. The retail use is proposed to be approximately 8,400 square feet of the existing 25,000 square feet, or approximately 35% of the existing floor area. So Sad Nuggies is a rapidly expanding and globally recognized viral plush company that was launched in Strathroy in 2022. They have amassed nearly 1.4 million followers on Instagram, 230,000 followers on TikTok, and 450,000 followers on Facebook. Notably, some of their TikTok videos have upwards of 4 million views per video. So this business outgrew their previous facility in Strathroy within 3 months of opening up, and they've been looking for a new facility across Ontario since, predominantly from Strathroy up to Toronto, but they were looking at all areas. Without success in finding a facility that accommodates their unique needs, they were able to find Amy's Restaurant here. And they also have noted that they do have a preference to remain local to the area. So the business currently employs 10 people, but they do expect to grow to about 30 people by the end of the year. And they require a structure that's unique because they need space for multiple private executive offices, a boardroom to support directors, a warehouse for storage of their inventory, and a dedicated fulfillment area for packing and shipping. They also need dual loading docks for efficient container deliveries and courier pickups, parking capacity for 50 or more vehicles, and a single tenant structure to eliminate neighboring noise, thereby protecting the revenue that they use for their social media with their uninterrupted filming and live stream content. And they do also need a space for some experiential retail as well. So the application was circulated in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act, and we did not receive any concerns noted by agencies circulated nor by members of the public. The building department would note that they continue to work closely with the owner pertaining to the change of use building permit. And emergency services will continue to work with the owner just to ensure that the appropriate 911 signage is posted as required. So I have gone through the policy in a lot of detail in my report, so I'm not going to reiterate it verbatim because I trust you have all read it. But I would summarize it by saying that the Planning Act provides for the temporary zoning bylaw amendment tool for municipalities to allow a use not otherwise permitted for a period of time not exceeding 3 years. And it does also provide for the tool for council to continue to extend every 3 years at their sole discretion. So economic development and emphasizing business diversification, retention, and expansion of existing businesses, as well as the attraction of new businesses, is promoted in the applicable policies stemming from the province down to the township. The Adelaide Metcalfe official plan in specifically emphasizes the importance of promoting these businesses and attracting new businesses to the township to provide for a balance of residential and employment opportunities. So in terms of the Adelaide Metcalfe official plan specifically, the primary objective of the commercial corridor designation is to provide for an opportunity for a range of highway commercial uses along Center Road. These uses include those that require access to a major arterial road and a limited range of light industrial uses. The intent is to concentrate these uses in one area to provide an attractive, fully serviced commercial area that is separated from agricultural, residential, and downtown commercial uses. So in staff's opinion, the proposed use meets the township's criteria for these light industrial and service commercial uses. It's a non-noxious operation predominantly focused on warehousing, fulfillment, and office functions, which, as I have noted, is already permitted with the zoning. And the temporary use is specifically just to allow for that accessory retail component. The use will operate within the existing structure on fully serviced lands. It will utilize the existing service connections, and those will remain unchanged. And the retail use is destination oriented. As I noted in my report, it does attract visitors across North America and beyond. When you look at the social media comments, there's even people from Germany that are commenting that they would like to come visit, which is pretty interesting. And it is consistent with the objective of encouraging those uses that serve the traveling public. I would also just note that this retail component is not a small scale freestanding store, but it functions as an accessory part of that larger warehousing and office operation. And there's not going to be any on-site manufacturing, and the use is compatible with the surrounding commercial context as it stands today. So staff are supportive of the request, provided that the square footage permitted with the proposed retail use be a maximum of 815 square meters, which is approximately 35% of the floor area. I would just note in the application, they did ask for 780 square meters, which is approximately 34%, but I am just recommending that additional square footage be included just to accommodate for some potential minor variations that could arise during construction and renovation of the space. Also including this maximum will assure that it aligns with the official plan and that the retail component remains accessory to the predominant warehouse and office use. So staff are of the opinion that the proposed temporary use is consistent with the requirements of the Planning Act and maintains the intent of the Adelaide Metcalfe official plan and zoning bylaw. And we are recommending that the application be approved and that all 3 readings be completed this evening. And I'm here if you have any questions.
Okay, thanks, Ashley. Before I ask council if they have any questions or comments, would the applicant like to speak or make any comments? You're not required to, but you're good? Okay. All right, council, do you have any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Kingma.
It's actually not a question. I just wanted to thank Strathroy Caradoc for their interest in this development as well, and for seeing the merits of how this development, when it expands, will benefit Strathroy Caradoc businesses as well.
Yeah, and I might add, Councillor Kingman and myself, we visited the site and it's pretty exciting what they're doing and what they're planning on growing into. And I think it's a great addition for the community. It's not in competition with the Strathroy Main Street. In fact, they actually send people downtown to support a lot of the businesses down there as well. So it's a win-win for the district, I think. Is there anyone from the public that has any questions or comments? Okay. So we have a recommendation that the application for zoning bylaw amendment Z07-2025 be approved and that the implementing bylaw be read a first, second, third, and final time. The reasons are, as Ashley mentioned, consistency with the provincial planning statement would be maintained, conformity with the County of Middlesex official plan would be maintained, conformity with the Township of Adelaide Metcalfe official plan would also be maintained, conformity with the Township of Adelaide Metcalfe zoning bylaw would be maintained. Could I have a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Kingma. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, the next application up is the zoning bylaw amendment for a temporary use for 4602 Egremont Drive, and I'll turn this portion of the meeting back over to you as well, Ashley.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. So the lands for this particular application are located on the north side of Egremont Drive, which is also known as County Road number 22. And it's just west of the intersection of Hickory Drive, which is County Road number 39 and Egremont Drive. The lands are approximately 25 acres in size, and they do contain one single detached dwelling, one accessory modular dwelling, which is otherwise known as the second dwelling in my report in the notice, one bank barn, and one riding arena. The lands are designated as agricultural in both the Middlesex County and the Adelaide Metcalfe official plans, and they are also zoned a site-specific general agricultural with a temporary use permission for that second dwelling. So lands are serviced by a private well and a privately owned septic system, and they do have 2 existing accesses to Egremont Drive. I would just note that no new access or service is proposed to accommodate this application. So in 2007, Council passed the original temporary use bylaw to permit for that second dwelling. It's approximately 1,300 square feet in size, and a temporary use bylaw, as I just mentioned with the previous report, is applicable for a 3-year period of time with extensions able to be granted by Council every 3 years. So the application was circulated in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act, and no concerns were noted by agencies or members of the public. County Emergency Services did provide a standard comment that 911 addressing must be confirmed to be posted. And I would just note, as with my last report, I'm not going to read in the policy section in its entirety, but I would just note some key pieces. So as Council is aware, at the end of 2024, the province replaced the provincial policy statement with an entirely new policy document called the Provincial Planning Statement. The emphasis on protecting prime agricultural land was arguably strengthened. However, the new PPS does now allow municipalities to permit for 1 detached additional residential unit in a prime agricultural area, provided they comply with minimum distance separation setbacks, is compatible with and does not hinder surrounding agricultural operations, has appropriate sewage and water services, addresses any public health and safety concerns, and is of limited scale and located within, attached, or in close proximity to the principal dwelling or farm building cluster. They also must minimize the land taken out of agricultural production. Previously, these types of units have been mandated by the province to be permitted as of right in settlement area boundaries where they have full municipal services. However, they were not contemplated on a permanent basis in prime ag areas. One of the key differences is that the policy is slightly different for those in the prime ag areas than those that will be in town. So the county official plan and the Adelaide Metcalfe official plan are both in the process of being updated, as council is aware. It's going to ultimately update that new provincial direction. And those will be the documents that really set the detailed parameters that these new types of units have to follow in these prime ag areas. So I would just note that these updates are still on track. We anticipate that they will be completed this fall and winter. I know the draft county official plan is already with the province for review, and then the zoning bylaw will be updated following the official plans. So when evaluating this proposal strictly from the lens of the provincial planning statement, staff are of the opinion that the criteria set by the province appears to be met. Once the county and township policies are updated, the temporary ARU will either need to be converted to a permanent ARU, that complies with those finalized policy parameters that County Council and Township Council will set, or they'll need to obtain a renewal for that temporary use permission again in the future. So I am hopeful that these updated policies will include some type of transition regulation. Certainly, this is not the only ARU that's on a temporary basis that's being renewed, continuously in the county. And we are hoping that county council or local council will include some type of transition regulation. I believe the draft that went to the planning advisory committee, it looks to be that it will be local council's discretion for that, but we will wait and see. And I would just emphasize that moving forward under a temporary use bylaw doesn't guarantee a long-term approval. And ultimately, the ARU is subject to the direction taken through those policy updates. But ultimately, my recommendation is that this renewal be approved. Hopefully, this is the last renewal, and that the implementing bylaw be read a first, second, and third and final time this evening. And I'm here if you have any questions.
Okay, thanks, Ashley. Is there anyone in the gallery that wanted to speak, an applicant that wanted to speak to this application? It's not necessary, but you can. Okay, seeing none then, are there any questions from council or comments to Ashley? And is there anyone else in the gallery that wants to speak to this application? Okay, seeing none then, we have a recommendation that the application for zoning bylaw amendment Z08-2025 be approved and that the implementing bylaw be read a first, second, and third and final reading. And I won't reread the reasons. Ashley's laid those out quite clearly. So could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Kingma, seconded by Councillor Brody. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we have a recommendation, excuse me, that council adjourn the public meeting at 7:17 PM and reconvene in regular session of council. Could I have a mover? Moved by Councillor McKinnon and seconded by Councillor Brody. We're just going to take a 2-minute recess. Okay, we just had a brief recess there because there were some people that wanted to leave from the gallery. Next thing up on our agenda is the industrial development feasibility study and roadmap. And it's presented by Collier's project leaders. Daria, is that right? Daria, sorry, Daria and Jonathan are here tonight to present that. So I'll turn this portion of the meeting over to you folks. And just the microphone you can share there.
So before you two get into it, if I can just kind of set the stage real quick, if you don't mind. So council may remember on February 18th of this year, we presented a report, a staff report requesting council direction to undertake phase 1 of an industrial lands feasibility study. And there was a phase 2 that we have in there as well. But the reason why we broke it up into 2 phases is to give council a little bit more control over the project itself, but also if phase 1 checks off, okay, then maybe we can move into phase 2 at council's direction. So I'm hoping after council receives the report on the phase 1 study today and has a chance to answer or ask any questions and receive the answers that it's looking for, that we can move into the phase 2. And the reason why phase 2 is important to move into timely is that we're within kind of tight timelines to get to the 2026 budget discussions. There will be next steps resulting of this feasibility study, which will come with funding amounts and other discussions that we really do need to have in as part of our 2026 draft budget discussions. I know there are a couple of grants that are available today that some of this work may be eligible for. I do caution delaying phase 2 in hopes of receiving grant funding for phase 2 because it's not retroactive. We are under a bit of a time constraint to get to those budget discussions, but that's not going to prevent us from using a grant application under those 2 funding envelopes for 2026 efforts. So I'd really like to see us kick off phase two, get to 2026 budget discussions. Staff will bring all the information for council to understand what 2026 could look like. We apply for funding, we go after those envelopes, and we even go to Roma in January and do some delegations and try to boil these projects up, because this is a big project. In saying that, kick it over to you folks.
Thank you. Thank you, Morgan. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us tonight. My name is Daria, and I'm joined by my colleague Jonathan, and we also have Surya online today with us as well. All good. And as Morgan said, we're here to sort of present the result of the first phase of the industrial development feasibility study and roadmap assignment that we've been undertaking for the last couple of months. So we have quite a lengthy agenda, but I promise to make this as painless as possible. Starting with our project overview. So as Morgan mentioned, this started out as a need to diversify your tax base, to examine opportunities to expand industrial lands and consolidate them into an organized land use strategy. At the beginning of this assignment, it was identified to us that there was a subject area that you had in mind, which is up 563 acres located just at Center Road and Highway 402 near here, which is currently divided into 6 existing lots that are owned by private members of the community. And there's some existing services nearby. So we went ahead and conducted a feasibility study to assess the needs for industrial lands in the area and how Adelaide Metcalfe can potentially fulfill some of those needs. Our project objectives included establishing the goals of industrial land development, validating the market opportunity for the intended goals, identifying suitable development options for evaluation, which comes along with identifying the best development option, and identifying the high-level budget associated with the identified development option, and developing an associated roadmap, including some high-level costs to sort of show council what it would take to go into actually developing the land. We began by conducting a market analysis, specifically focusing on to identify any potential gaps, risks, and opportunities, which could be leveraged in the township's favor. We focused on nearby municipalities such as London, Sarnia, and St. Thomas. As you can see in Table 1, there are multiple net industrial land needs assessed using different methodologies. To align with the provincial planning statement, we recommend going with 25 jobs per hectare. And based on that analysis, we received that there is a significant gap between supply and demand, which supports the needs to develop industrial lands in Adelaide Metcalfe of about 5,227 hectares over the next 35 years. So that is significant. Understandably, the municipalities that we've assessed might also be sort of seeing similar things, which is why time may be of the essence. But we proceeded into conducting some stakeholder consultations to focus, and we focused the engagements to identify industries of interest, confirm strategic alignment between county and township, and identify areas of opportunity and potential bottlenecks when it comes to developing the lands. We conducted 3 different consultations split into Middlesex County Economic Development, which included Director of Economic Development Kara Finn, Middlesex County Engineering and Planning, which included General Manager Infrastructure and County Engineering Chris Trainee. And we also interviewed the Township of Adelaide Metcalfe leadership, including the 3 folks sitting across from me, Morgan, Mayor Sue, and Michael. So as a result, we confirmed that there is definite alignment between the county and the township, as well as also the province. And there is a clear interest in agribusiness and advanced manufacturing as key industry sectors that you would like to potentially examine getting into to see sort of what the opportunities are. As a result of the consultation, we also identified areas of opportunity and areas of improvement. And when we say improvement, we're not saying, you're not doing this. It's more just things that need to happen in order to enable the industrial land development. So key areas of opportunity include the county loan program, as well as foreign direct investment, which we know Kara has been heavily championing in the county. Partnerships, mainly with landowners and developers, expansion of the community improvement plan to include industrial uses, and also examining funding availability. In our report, which I'm sure you've all had a chance to take a look at, we do mention programs such as the Site Readiness program and the Trade Impacted Communities program, which could both be options for the township in terms of trying to find more funding to sort of help with the activities for the industrial land development. Key areas of improvement, there is a need to construct and expand services to the subject lands, including power, water, and wastewater, as well as potentially needs for expansion of road in the area. There is a need for consultation with the Ministry of Transportation about right-of-way lands and future plans for expansion in the area. As we noticed, there is currently an area zoned for future highway expansion, which is within the subject lands identified. So it would be good to have those consultations to really understand the extent of MTO's planning to make sure it doesn't interfere with the industrial developments that the township will be planning. And also a need to address the current lack of up-to-date due diligence information. This may be, through further consultations with the county, but may also be through actual investigations on site to sort of see what the actual needs are. We would then look into arranging for financing and funding opportunities in greater detail. Okay. As a result of the stakeholder engagement, the market analysis, we developed the following project definition. We've identified a need for industrial lands to fulfill the needs of the agribusiness and advanced manufacturing industry. Through stakeholder consultations, that need has been further reaffirmed and has been confirmed to strategically align with the county. Our goal is to now determine the most suitable approach to the delivery of industrial land while exploring paths to accomplishing the following: maximizing the use of available site services and suggesting appropriate expansion, examining funding opportunities for the development of industrial lands, and identifying ways to set Adelaide Metcalfe apart from nearby municipalities, whether it be through infrastructure investment incentives, sector targeted marketing approach for the lands, the expansion of the CPI program as well, and then also acquiring lands and examining opportunities for joint ventures with private owners and partnerships to sort of deliver and expand the services and the lands. The project definition formed the foundation for guiding the development of the roadmap, and the project options that you will see herein. So there are 3 options that were discussed and developed as a result. Option 3 is sort of a do nothing option. That being said, it is not a do nothing option. It is the option to delay the development of industrial lands until adequate funds are available for the site servicing expansions and the things that you are going to be needing. Option 1 and option 2 are quite similar. That being said, option 1 is just a general phased approach to land development, considering that the subject land area identified is quite large. We suggest, splitting it out into smaller pieces in terms of development and putting it out to market in a phased manner. The general approach really just looks to align with the general needs and requirements when it comes to planning and designing site services and lot sizes. So lot sizes would use general guidelines for industrial land development. You'd be looking at implementing non-industry specific strategies and incentives of attracting business. And you would also be opening yourself up to partnership opportunities with any industry or sector that comes into town. Option 2 starts out very similarly to option 1. That being said, as the phases of land get developed and delivered, you start adopting a more sector targeted approach. So let's say you have your first 2 phases of land have been delivered, and now you're like, okay, I actually want to attract agribusiness and advanced manufacturing and really focus in on that. So that's what option 2 would do. and it would consider industry-specific planning and design guidelines when it comes to expanding the services, as well as adjusting the lot sizes to sort of fit those industries. You would also be implementing a structured incentive program to attract specific industries and really actively looking for partnership opportunities with those key sectors. So to evaluate the three options I outlined previously, we developed a qualitative evaluation matrix, as you see here. We've identified 8 different considerations. Each consideration was given a weighting based on its level of importance, 5 being most important, 1 being potentially negligible or not as important, and a rating out of 3. So the things that the township found to be most key was tax-based diversification, presence of funding and financial opportunities, and then closely followed by partnership opportunities, site servicing needs, and development timeframes. So as a result of the evaluation, we do recommend that council proceed with option 2, being the phased general development with sector targeted industrial land development, as it scored the highest when evaluated against the criteria presented. The strategy offers strong potential to diversify the township's tax base while minimizing market risk, particularly by focusing on key sectors like agribusiness and advanced manufacturing, which rely heavily on locally sourced materials and are also play into well with Ontario's strategic goals currently, as well as Ontario is heavily pushing to revitalize its manufacturing sector, particularly in transportation equipment, and which aligns well with the strategy. This option enhances opportunities for employment, partnerships, funding, and the creation of an industry hub without initially committing to a single sector, right? This option also allows the township to align with available funding opportunities and community goals as time goes on, and still prioritizes preserving key values of the community, such as preserving the agricultural base. And given the current land layout is about 100 acres, if you look at the six lots presented there, we would recommend beginning with lot 1 as the strategic starting point, just based on the location of site services. That being said, these things would need to be further evaluated through further investigation as well. As a result, and to support option 2, we did develop a roadmap breaking out some key tasks and the associated high-level costs as to what it would actually take to deliver the lands to the area. Just as a note, we made no assumptions about sources of financing, including origination or debt servicing. No assumptions have been made pertaining to partnership structure and division of costs, responsibilities, and risks between partners. It should be noted that the costs outlined in this roadmap are high level and require further refinement through technical investigation, market analysis, and due diligence. As iterative studies progress and industrial land development processes further advance, capital costs will become more clearly defined and better understood from a financial perspective. Alternative systems for things such as wastewater treatment are available on the market, and could also be considered and may offer greater cost efficiency depending on the municipalities and the potential partners' risk tolerance and evolving needs. The report does not assume any cost sharing through partnerships, as this would depend on the specific structure of each partnership. However, there is clear potential to share development costs, particularly during the actualized stage, once partnerships are formalized, which is why we also include an item for project syndication, which would involve an alliance between the township and the potential landowner for the delivery of the lands. Okay. And here is the roadmap itself. It is quite a lot of information on one slide. As you can see, it has 6 steps. We're currently sitting in step 0. Each step is also given a timeline or an approximate timeline. The variation in the timeline really just comes from how long certain tasks take, if they're conducted in parallel, and if there's any subtasks that sort of evolve out of the tasks outlined here. As you can see, step 1 and step 2 are all about due diligence, planning, and feasibility. And this includes a lot of your market analysis, looking at the properties, looking at the environmental site assessments, your secondary planning, your municipal class environmental assessments. But it also looks at engaging with potential partners and potentially initiating those conversations with not only potential landowners, but also engagement with strategic groups such as Invest Ontario and the county as a whole. Step 3, 4, and 5 are really the construction steps and carry the highest cost. Specifically step 4, as you can see, that is the 34 million there is mostly attributed to the wastewater treatment plant. And so that is something that can definitely be fleshed out further through further due diligence. And once we have a better idea of the needs of the actual tenant, those costs evolve and change as well. Okay. So in conclusion, we definitely recommend option 2 as it offers Adelaide Metcalfe a certain level of control and also gives it a way of sort of setting itself apart from other municipalities in the area by implementing the phased general development with sector targeted industrial land development approach. And Colliers recommends proceeding with phase 2 of the industrial lands feasibility study to explore this option in greater detail. Just to remind the group here, that would involve several key activities, such as conducting a market sounding through interviews with private sector stakeholders to assess opportunities and deal structures. And also further conducting a development analysis to refine the tasks in the roadmap. So including a procurement analysis, refinement of the development budget and project schedule, and assessment of funding sources, and also analysis of any carrying costs and debt services as well. And that would also help further refine the task and the associated budget as well. So we thank you for your time today. And there are some limitations here as well. But that being said, we thank you for taking the time to hear us out today. And we enjoyed this assignment, and let us know if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Are there any, I know it was a lot, the 30 some odd pages was a lot to read through, and it's quite daunting, and it's like eating an elephant. I think you have to kind of look at it one little bite at a time, because we're looking at a bigger picture, not just in the next year or two, but this is long-term planning that you have to do to survive and to grow and to thrive as a community. So that being said, all that, last call for any questions. Councillor McKinnon?
Through you, Mayor. Can you just share with me why you compared us to London and Sarnia rather than municipalities of our own size closer to us?
Through the mayor to the councillors. So what we did was we basically drew about an hour radius around Adelaide Metcalfe. Demographics of your municipality and industrial land aren't necessarily connected in that your industrial land will compete with London's, the people that work in London, the people that live in London, what they develop there, as well as Sarnia, as well as St. Thomas. So the industries that would come foreign direct investment you saw in other industries will look at places in London, places in Sarnia, places in St. Thomas, and places in Adelaide Metcalfe before they make their decision. So it's a larger area that companies that are going to invest in will look at. That's why we kind of spread you out and put a radius around.
A second question. In my opinion, partnering with private enterprise may not be the answer. I would think more likely the county, because they already have a lot of partners in agribusiness and such, and they know how slowly the municipal world travels. So would you concur, or would you have a different opinion from that?
Through the mayor to the councillor, it depends on the landowners that are currently there, where they move and how that goes, right? From a care and control perspective, Adelaide Metcalfe controlling the lands, controlling that, yes, then you can control the pace in that. But there is a lot of cost to that, purchasing lands and running through those processes all at your own dime or your ratepayers' dime. There's definite options for private partners to come in, which could be very viable. We haven't engaged them yet, but so we don't know what we don't know is what I'm trying to say. There may be private partners that are looking for places like Adelaide Metcalfe and access to the 402 and the border, which could be great partners for Adelaide. Answer in short, I think you got to engage, talk to the market, talk to different participants that are looking, and then figure it out and make decisions at that point. It's hard to say right now what the perfect mix is.
Thank you.
I think it's, if I can just add, I think it's fair to say we're still in the discovery stage, where this was sort of the initial, just see where we have to go. And then the next step, as you said, is to, talk to private sector stakeholders and others that, we'd be relying on to a large extent. So, yeah. Okay, don't know. Sorry, Councillor Kingma?
Just want to start with a comment. Excellent report. I don't think we've done enough to exhaust our visioning exercise. I personally have not conveyed what I would like to see in an industrial park. So I don't know how council's will is being expressed exactly, if I haven't contributed. So I just wanted to put that out there. It's not sour grapes. It's just no one talked to me about it. I do have opinions on that. So my second point is that these prospective tenants that we might want to talk to with market soundings, I guess you called them. I would like them to tell us what incentives they would like, and then we would talk to them about making that possible. And finally, I want prospective tenants to tell us what supply chain deficiencies they believe are in the area and how can we plug those.
So I would say that perhaps we should ask you to make sure you reach out to all counselors before we would move into step 2. So I'm not sure if they're prepared tonight to, I know it was in the budget to go into step 2, but sorry, Morgan?
Yeah, just a quick question. I guess to you folks, would there be an additional stakeholder engagement session to help capture the vision of what could go here, how it could get there, and to address Councillor Kingman's questions?
Yeah.
You could bake that into a phase 2.
Yeah, absolutely. We could definitely engage all the council, have a discussion. We have structured set of questions, may tailor a little bit just for council's sake, but we entered into our engagements with the structured set of questions. But yes, it'd be good to know the whole of council's vision prior.
And if I can just add, I know when I was spoken to, I did speak to those issues. How would we incentivize and what sort of that would look like? And but I don't see that covered in the report. And maybe that's where you would like to see more information, but we're not there yet. Maybe Councillor Kingman?
Yeah, I just want this to be an Adelaide Metcalfe project and put our stamp on this thing.
Yeah, just real quick. Councillor Kingma's market incentive questions, they would be part of the phase 2.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, we would ask through the chair, we would definitely ask those exact questions to get better gauge.
Okay, so like I said, we have it allocated in the budget to start the phase 2, which would encompass the points that as well as build upon the comments that were probably not printed out here, but in the research that was done. So is the wish of council to proceed to phase 2, or I'm looking for direction here, what you'd like to do? Councillor Brody?
I'd like to see us through the mayor. I'd like to see us move into a phase 2. I like both of the other councilors' comments. So I didn't want to say them twice, but I really like what they asked. I think when we don't move into phase two, this thing goes nowhere, period.
Yep.
So, I mean, we need to move. There should be hopefully there's funding to come up and see what happens, I guess.
Counselor Kingma?
Yeah, just through the mayor to the delegation, it just dawned on me. At what stage would we deter discussions with non-target industries?
Through the chair to the counselor. So it would very dependent at this point. Proof of concept is going to matter a lot for Adelaide Metcalfe or any industrial development to get off the ground, right? There needs to be somebody first to market that shows that industrial development can occur. It would very much be up to council at any given time throughout that process on, hold on, we're getting too much warehousing. That's an example. We want to step and move into advanced manufacturing. Now we think there's a need. But iteratively through that process, it would come back to council and council can make a decision. I'm not speaking on behalf of staff, but it could happen at any point through that process, really and truly.
Good discussion. Anything else? Counselor McKinnon?
I'm in agreement with Councillor Mike. I'd like to move forward with option 2.
Oh, is it fair to say that council engage, we have a motion that council continue to engage Collier's project leaders to proceed with phase 2 of the industrial lands feasibility study with an emphasis on further exploration of the phase general development and sector target industrial land development option. Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Brody, seconded by Councillor McKinnon. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Thank you for your report. Okay, next up on the agenda is our consent agenda. Is there anything of the 9 items recommended in there? Is there anything you'd like removed from that consent agenda? Councillor Kingma?
7F and 7H, please.
7H. Okay, then okay, so what we'll do is, could I have a motion to accept and file the consent agenda, items 7A, B, C, D, E, G, and I be adopted as recommended. Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Kingma. All in favor, and that's carried. Okay, and we'll pull out 7F. Councillor Kingma, you have some questions?
Yeah, it was through the mayor to back to the mayor, I would say. I was wondering about next gen 911. Are we all going to get new signs?
Well, so I asked the exact same question at county council. So if you have a sign right now, they're not requiring that they be replaced. Like if it's not mandatory that you take it down. For any new signs that are coming out, I think I saw one upstairs where it actually shows the road name as well as the number. So any new signs going forward, they'll be required to be those. And I asked at county council what the cost was and nobody gave me a clear cost. They just said it'll just be a little bit more. So anyway, we're still waiting to hear on that. I can't give you any more details than that. Perhaps Coulter, do you want to add any information on these new gen signs other than I've mentioned?
No, Mayor Clark, you pretty much covered everything I'm aware of as well. We've just started rolling out the signs, but the county does make them. And we're still getting charged the same as of right now, so.
I have no follow-up. I was going to ask my next question.
Okay, so could I have a motion to receive 7F, the Middlesex County highlights from July the 8th, 2025, moved by Councillor Brody, seconded by Councillor Kingma. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, the next one is the capital budget to actual Q2 of 2025. And Councillor Kingma, you have a question?
Through the mayor to Coulter Bridge 4. Do you have a timeline?
Thank you, Councillor Kingman. There is no timeline right now on Bridge 4. The engineering is, I would say, 90% complete. There were a few, not issues, but a few things that took a little longer than planned. They had to do some investigating just to make sure we got it right. So no exact timeline as of right now. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on the budget? Okay, seeing none then, could I have a motion to accept and adopt 7H, the capital budget to actual Q2 of 2025? Moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Brody. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, next up is the correspondence. We have a request to support a resolution from the town of Bracebridge regarding road salt usage. A request from Prince Edward County to support a resolution for disability without poverty advocacy. From the municipality of Tweed, a request to support a resolution regarding blue box producer responsibilities. Councillor McKinnon?
Come in here late, but I would like to support the Prince County.
The disability without poverty advocacy. Okay. So you'll make that a motion?
I'll make that a motion.
Okay, is there a seconder? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. The support from the municipality of Tweed for a resolution regarding blue box producer responsibilities. From the city of Guelph, a request to support a resolution for Special Economic Zones Act 2025. Councillor Kingma?
Thank you. I don't support a whole lot that comes out of Guelph, but I will support this one. I don't think a minister should override municipal authority in this fashion.
Okay, so you would be prepared to make a motion? Yes. Is there a seconder? Okay, seeing none, we move on to the town of Bradford West Willambury. A support for a resolution for increased income support thresholds for Canadian veterans. And 8F, we have a letter to council regarding development charges at 29999 Wilson Road for Advan Broilers Limited. The letter is dated May 29th, 2025. Moved by Councillor Brody. Sorry, yeah, you have a.
So on this one here, the development charges are getting charged to this farm organization. In my mind, is very extreme. There should be some relief for farm workers. Basically, it's a farm worker facility that they're not going to rent this facility out. It's not on any paved road. There's no water source. There's no sewer source. There's no anything. So I'd like to see something come back to council with how these costs work and what we can do about this specific, or maybe not this specific letter, but anything like it. I just really don't agree with these high development charges for this.
Okay, anybody else have any comments?
No.
So, sorry, Councillor Kingma?
Through the mayor, I concur with Councillor Brody. There is an extreme element to this. DC should be commensurate with the amount of infrastructure that is consumed. And there's very little here to justify an exorbitant amount of DCs. I hope we can amend our DC bylaw to make a special category. I don't know to what extent we can do that, but for on-farm housing, for workers, because it is a raw expense for a farmer. It's not an income generation prospect.
So would it be fair to say that we ask staff to provide a report and bring back to council um, a discussion as to development charges, and we're looking at it from a specific lens of providing agricultural housing to support employment, as well as a breakdown of existing DC charges and how this compares. I believe it's a fourplex, so if it was a single family dwelling, it would be roughly 12,000. There's probably a little bit more, times four, and about 5,800 or so for the county, which we don't have a lot of control, if any, over that portion. And if these were four separate houses, we'd be looking at 68 or 70,000 versus the 30. So there is a sliding scale formula that is used. But having said all of that, I think it's important to look at the unique structure and why this is being built there and what the purpose is for. And like I said, to support employment. But I'd also like staff to also address the financial impact to the common tax base in that report, as well as if we're able to, through our bylaws, because I don't know the answer to this, restrict future usage from rental for income if we do explore modifying those DCs to, because that, as Councillor Kingman mentioned, that would be sort of a unique and a different box. So there would have to be parameters around that so that people aren't running ripshod. I guess that's a nice way of putting it. So anyway, those are my thoughts. So why don't we ask for a staff report? Would somebody be prepared to make that a motion? Or do you have something further, Councillor Kingman?
Yes, the elephant in the room is the current problem of a refund. So I'd like to see what staff options they're willing to come up with.
Okay, I'd like to see an overall policy though, and I'd like it in a timely fashion. Um, because like we said, we want to encourage employment in our community and support agriculture is our primary objective in this municipality. So I don't think we should look at it. I'm going to differ that I don't think this should be looked at as a one-off. I think your original comment of, if this is going to be, we're going to encourage development from an agricultural perspective and supportive housing. What do we want that to look like in our municipality? Not just for this one individual operation. We have other people that may have similar, although somewhat different needs, where they're going to need employment support. So that's all I would add to that. Councillor Brody?
Through you, Sue, just to Morgan, just a question, like, how soon can we, maybe that's a Johnny question too, like, is this something that we can have by another next meeting or so? Cause I don't know if there's a timeline on their building, is this holding that up? I don't even know that answer.
So I can answer that question real quick. They end up paying the development charge so they can do building permits. So like they are building right now. We will give council as many options that are available to it for sure. When the other thing I do want to kind of add into this conversation a little bit is a bit of a development charges education, how it came to the township, what projects are being allocated development charges. So for example, I heard water and wastewater a couple of times. Those aren't part of our development charges yet today, but a potential future fire hall expansion is, I believe, one of the identified projects in our development charges study. So I'd like Johnny to kind of bring back a bit of an education component. There is a lot of changing legislation. DCs are changing as we know it. So there are some updates and some tools that are actually convenient for this conversation that we'll present back to council as part of its options. So I'm gonna look at you, Johnny. You know your schedule better than I do. We got one meeting in August, and then we're into September already. So yes.
We've got taxes and camp.
So let's aim for the second meeting in September. Council okay with that?
That's going to give it, so in 2 council meetings from now, sure. Councillor Kingman?
through the mayor, and you can cut me off, but can we ask Tracy if she has anything to say? She's in the gallery.
Tracy, did you want to add anything other than what was in the content of the letter? Yeah, okay. Does anybody have any questions directly for Tracy? Oh, okay.
I don't think so. I talked to Brian before and
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I'm sympathetic to it, and I also trying to balance and like I explained before, this meeting to Brian was that, we can't do anything about the county. And if we waive that, the common tax base has to carry that. So I think I'd like to see a fulsome staff report that shows financial impact. But I also want to encourage businesses to grow in our agribusiness to grow in our community. And I recognize that, housing is a challenge. So I think we need to have a good look at this. And Tracy, thanks for bringing it to our attention. And um, it's only an issue when we're told it's an issue. So I appreciate you sending the letter and bringing that forward to us. So I think Councillor Brody, you made a motion for the staff report and we expect it back in September. The seconder is Councillor McKinnon. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, I see Arnie's lovely cameo on the screen there, his portrait. So Arnie, are you with us right now? There you are, live and in person, or on video anyway. So next up on our agenda are the staff reports, and I'll turn this portion of the meeting over to Arnie Marsman, our Chief Building Official, and it's to discuss the first half 2025 building activity summary. So I'll turn it over to you now, Arnie.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good evening, Council. That was a great conversation with regards to the application on Wilson Road, and I can assure Council a lot of consideration and conversations came to the conclusion that we had development charges to that permit. That said, I'm happy to contribute to reports, say from Johnny, and be part of that discussion and preparation of that report. I think we can provide some good comments and considerations for Johnny and for council.
Thank you.
So I'm here tonight, though, to provide council with an update for building permit activities, the first half, the second quarter of this year. And I'm pleased to say that this year is very similar to last year. So I think it's a strong showing to say that construction hasn't slowed. Generally, the number of permits and dwellings created is consistent with what we've seen in the first half of last year. And one exception is that this year the construction value has significantly increased, primarily due to farming, the agricultural projects that we've seen out there, a number of agricultural permits. In my staff report, I provide a number of tables. The first table outlines the number of permits we've seen. It's a summary table of what we have on our five municipalities that we provide inspection services for. So you can see how Adelaide Metcalfe compares to other municipalities and also how it compares to itself over the previous year. So of note, North Middlesex right now has been the big winner for construction this year with dwelling units created and construction value. The Village of Ailsa Craig continues to carry the load for the county as far as our service agreements are concerned. But all in all, the permits that crossed our agreements are up to 437 this year, up from 407. And the number of dwellings created are 114, up from 69. So it's been a healthy increase. And construction value is up to 150 million from 116 million. So again, it's been a good first half for all the county. The second table is a comparator just of Adelaide Metcalfe's permits issued, fees collected, and charges collected. And construction value, again, you can see the construction value for the first half of this year is 18 million, where last year was at 7. So yeah, significant increase was what we've seen. The third table, which is actually labeled table 2, I apologize, but the third table is a breakdown of the types of permits we've seen in the second quarter and totals to date. if you're interested in whether it's housing, septic systems, or pools, this is a good summary of what we've had this year. And all that said, I'm open to any questions council may have.
Any questions for Ernie? Okay, I don't see any. I do have a comment. I think that, Arnie's presented his report and he also shows the other neighboring municipalities that have a servicing agreement with Middlesex Center to deliver this service efficiently and cost effectively. And we appreciate the work that your team does and continue doing a good job. Are there any other questions, comments for Ernie? Seeing none, then we have a recommendation that the first half 2025 building activity summary be received for information. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Brody, seconded by Councillor Kingma. All in favor, and that's carried. Okay, thanks, Arnie. Have a good night and keep up the good work.
Thank you, you too. Good night.
Next up on our agenda is the Fire Department's second quarter activity report, and I'll turn this portion of the meeting over to our Fire Chief, Chief Parker. Thanks for making it. I understand you had a call not too long ago. You guys aren't on a good streak right now, but it's not, yeah. All right, I'll turn the meeting over to you now, Chief Parker.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. Through you to council. Apologize, I probably smell like smoke right now, but this report outlines the activities of the Adelaide Metcalfe Fire Department for the second quarter of 2025. We had a pretty active period in the second quarter. It was from everything from our fundraisers, our Ice Bucket Challenge, to our boot tool, annual boot tool. We had 17 incidents in the township in this quarter, ranging from 6 motor vehicle collisions, 2 minor fires, 1 involving an all-terrain vehicle, 1 medical assist, and the rest remaining were down power lines and false alarms, smoke alarms. April, our training program for ended up being our annual recertification for CPR and first aid, delivered by London Middlesex EMS. And the guys focused on our bread and butter activities, extending from hose advancement, auto extrication, and ladder operations. And as council is aware, a significant portion of this quarter was dedicated to our new MSA self-contained breathing apparatus, which arrived in early April. 15 of the units were incorporated into the system, and each firefighter was issued their own personal fit tested mask. So this was a welcome delivery, as well as our Jord Air compressor system, which supports the new high pressure cylinders. Everything seemed to arrive. It was a seamless transition with all the new equipment. Would arrive within days of each other, so this worked out perfect. The firefighters asked me to extend our sincere thanks to the mayor, council, and township staff for their commitment and support in acquiring these essential assets. The entire crew is grateful for the investment in the modern equipment that will enhance our capabilities and serve our community into the future. So big thanks to everyone. In May, in the spirit of camaraderie, the community awareness, Adelaide Metcalfe Fire Department proudly accepted the Ice Bucket Challenge from our colleagues at Strathroy-Caradoc Fire. This helped raise awareness for mental health and wellness. This challenge was a strong engagement on our social media platform and was a great bond among our fire services. This quarter, we also had a new well drilled at the fire hall, which was very successful. It was over 20 gallons of water a minute, so it was great to have that water supply. And part of our annual maintenance and safety program, Engine 1 and 2 underwent successful pump testing with minor repairs to Engine 1 for a few small minor vacuum leaks. As well, in May, Members of the fire department visited Adelaide Metcalfe Public School, delivered a fire prevention and safety presentation. 6 of our firefighters were involved in the equipment demonstration and the education. In June, we proudly hosted our annual Boot Toll fundraiser for support for Muscular Dystrophy Canada, raising over $2,400. So it was a great success for the generosity of our community. And we extend our sincere appreciation to everyone. Over the past 30 years, Adelaide Metcalfe Fire has raised over $45,000 in support of this cause. And as part of our ongoing modernization efforts, our old units, self-contained breathing apparatus, and our old compressor was sold through Gov Deals, and all were sent and shipped out to Alberta. Our fire prevention officer, Kyle Kirasovich, has remained active in this quarter with a strong focus on inspections and ensuring compliance with the fire code. Through April through June, Kyle and I have conducted an inspection of a local agricultural greenhouse facility. And additionally, Kyle's completed a full inspection and records review of the local hotel, which included observing a scheduled fire drill in coordination with the staff. He continues to carry out inspections of the industrial and commercial properties across the township, ensuring ongoing compliance and safety regulations. Ask council to accept my report. I'm happy to take any questions or comments.
Okay, are there any questions for Chief Parker? Councillor Kingma?
Through the mayor to the chief, it's not in your report because it happened kind of recently, but that tractor trailer flipped over on the 402. Were you there for a long time, and what did you all do?
Thank you, Councillor Kingma. Yeah, the firefighters were on scene for, a few of them were on scene for over 13 hours. The initial call, they were there for probably an hour. Once it was established, the tanker was not leaking at that point. The scene was released to OPP and their cleanup crew. The following day, the roads were shut down completely, westbound. And the following day, we were asked to stand by for fire protection and decon. So decontamination of any personnel that were made in contact once they started offloading the product onto another trailer. As I'm sure you're aware, the trailer itself was completely upside down on its top. So once they started transferring our firefighters on scene were able to protect the crew on scene. Once in a while, we were asked to wash them down in the hot zone. And engine 2 remained on scene for the full 13 hours there. Car 1 as well remained on scene for 13 hours. And firefighters were rotated through. Initially, the first crew was there for 7.5 hours, and they started a rotation of 2 hours each. So there was report of a small leak, I guess, when they first started transferring product, but it was very minimal, and they had a quite successful transfer of the product. Once they got going, it took a long time to get it to the scene protected and ready to go. Other than that, yeah, it was successful transfer.
Was the Ministry of the Environment there as well?
Yes, they were
Yeah,
there the whole
thank-
time, and
Perfect.
along with the GFL, the hazardous materials team that was during the whole operation. They were there too. So.
Okay, you guys have been busy. Your report doesn't capture everything in there. So, anything else for Dan? He's got a fish fry coming up the end of August, so if you want a ticket, you better get at him quick. So that's just a public service announcement. Okay, seeing no other questions or comments, we have a recommendation that council receive the fire department's second quarter activity report for information. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Counselor Brody, seconded by Counselor Kingma. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, next up on our agenda is the encroachment agreement for the liquid manure line on Mullaferry Drive, and I'll turn this portion of the meeting over to our Public Works Manager, Coulter Cahill.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Clark. Council did see something very similar to this last year. Adelaide Metcalfe did enter into an encroachment agreement with the landowner last year to install a liquid manure line. With the road construction project going on again this year, Ryan and Trudy Timmermans, they have requested approval to install a similar liquid manure transmission line beneath Mullaferry Drive, just west of Seed Road. There's obviously several benefits to permitting the installation of a transmission line under the road, including road safety, elimination of adverse environmental impacts from potential spill, reduce emissions, and eliminate the need for hauling liquid manure tanks with large farm equipment down township roads. Installation of the manure line will conform to the same standards as last year, following Middlesex County's same standards. Staff do support the owner's request for the installation of the liquid manure transmission line across Mullaferry Drive. And as per this agreement, as well as last year's, the owner within 30 days of the endorsement shall pay the municipality $600 for reimbursement of the township's actual legal fees. Recommendation is in the report, but I'll open up for any questions if there is any. Thank you.
Thank you, Coulter. Any questions? I have a comment. I'm happy to see, and I know that it has been in the practice in the past that there is full cost recovery for the municipality, that the property owners who benefit directly pay those fees and expenses. Seeing no other questions or comments, we have a recommendation that council authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into an encroachment agreement with Ryan and Trudy Timmermans for the installation of a liquid manure transmission line under Mullaferry Drive. Mover and a seconder, moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Kingma. All in favor, and that's carried. Okay, Coulter, you're up again for pre-budget approval for the single axle snowplow, and I'll turn this portion again over to you.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. Following the township's asset management plan, the purchase of a new tandem snowplow was identified in the 5-year capital budget and was scheduled to be replaced next year in 2026. The Max snowplow is part of the existing fleet on a 15-year replacement cycle and will reach its end of service in 2026. In the previous years, we have typically replaced tandem snowplows with similar models. However, this year staff are proposing a shift to a single axle snowplow instead. The single axle design is more compact and significantly easier to maneuver, making it better suited for the narrow streets and tight parking lots that our staff has to snowplow. Additionally, it will be equipped with a 2-way plow, allowing operators to push snow to either side of the truck for increased efficiency. Transitioning one of our fleet vehicles to a single axle snowplow not only improves operational flexibility and safety, but also results in cost savings for the department. By making this decision now, delivery for the new snowplow would land between September and November of next year, in hopes that we can utilize the new asset for the winter of 26-27. I will note that after this cycle, we won't have to look at replacing our snowplows for another 8 to 9 years. So this will be the last time you'll have to see this for a few years. We have caught up as per our asset management plan, which is quite nice. In the 2025 budget, the capital forecast identified the replacement of Mac 2 at $424,320. By shifting to a single axle, the new budget can be reduced by $24,320 to $400,000, which staff are recommending be funded through the life cycle management reserve fund. Recommendation is in the report, but I'll open up for any questions if there is any. Thank you.
Coulter, I'm just wondering, is that a realistic delivery time, September, October next year? Like, is from a supply chain issue?
We're hoping so. We should. Again, you guys saw the same report last year with the hopes of seeing this last year's snowplow show up in September, November. they're saying November, December now, so we're trying to get these things rolled out as fast as we can, so
Yep.
we do stay on track with our asset management plan, so
Good.
we're doing our best anyway, so.
Yeah, good. Any other questions? Counselor Brody?
Through you, so to Coral, I was really questioning the shift to a single axle. You got like specific spots you gotta run with that, or? Cause even when we use it in the summer, is that gonna be kind of a oddball? Like, is it gonna be enough for hauling gravel and everything else? Like, I know it looks like you're saving money, but is it really gonna cost you money not going to a tandem axle?
Yeah, thanks, Councilor Brody. We've talked about it, thought about it. We've, all the guys I've called, different municipalities, different public works managers. My personal opinion is I do think it will be beneficial for us just with all the streets. We'd rejig our snowplow routes so that that unit would do all the streets in Kerwood, Butchery Creek, Cedar Crescent, County Lane, all those little streets around Strathroy, and then as well as the fire hall parking lot, our parking lot here at the municipal office. It's a little easier to maneuver, and we get snow buildup in the center of those cul-de-sacs and whatnot. So in the winter, it's definitely 100% no brainer for us. In the summer, it will be an oddball, but we're hoping that it might eliminate our F450 eventually. So we're hoping to have some cost savings there. We can use that. Usually we have one operator on a lawnmower, so we can't really have 4 trucks going at all times anyway. So we feel pretty strong about it, but I do agree with you. We thought about it quite a bit ourselves.
Okay, good discussion. Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, then we have a recommendation that council approve the pre-budget purchase of a new single axle snowplow. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Counselor Kingma, seconded by Counselor Brody, all in favor, and that's carried. Okay, next up on our agenda is the disposition of lands bylaw review and update, and I'll turn this portion of the meeting over to our CAO, Morgan Calvert.
Thank you, Mayor Clerk. Through you to council. As council knows, we're updating our bylaws, corporate policies, so on and so forth. This is another one of those bylaws that has been outdated for quite some time. It's about 15 years old. It does fall under section 270 of the Municipal Act, which is a set of policies and bylaws that we're required to have as a municipality. So in this case, this is really just there's not a lot of creativity within this bylaw. It's really just a modernization effort. We no longer require the use of a newspaper, for example. We can use more electronic means. There's a bit of a summary of key updates in there, but essentially it's the public notice. Methods have been aligned with current communication strategies, new valuation tools beyond formal appraisals. So council may remember we struggle with our former disposition of lands bylaw because it really only gave us one tool, which is an appraisal tool. Here we can look at different tools like impact valuations or so on and so forth. There is a greater procedural flexibility within the bylaw, so we're not contained to a specific process. However, council still has control over what that process looks like and how it shapes out to be. The exemptions remain largely the same, but it's just been reorganized for a bit of clarity, at least within the bylaw itself. And then, of course, leaning into the mayor's previous comments, cost recovery methodologies have been ingrained into the bylaw as well. So no immediate financial impact on the township, but the bylaw is designed to maximize the sale or disposition of other lands in the township. And I'm hoping we get to practice this bylaw later in October. Any questions? Happy to take them now.
Thank you, Morgan. Are there any questions on the updated? Seeing none, then we have a recommendation that council approve the disposition of lands bylaw as attached to this report. Moved by Counselor McKinnon, seconded by Counselor Kingma, all in favor, and that's carried. Okay, the next item on the agenda is 9F, but we're going to bump that till after we make a the council vacancy appointment, if everybody is in agreement with that by consensus. Yes, okay, thank you. All right, next up, we'll turn the meeting over to our treasurer, Johnny Pereira. It's in reference to drain review maintenance, on maintenance drains.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. Through to council. This report here just outlines the results of the maintenance drainage review project. So back in 2022, council directed staff to proceed to review all outstanding drainage works and bill those benefiting properties. So since 2022, staff has been thoroughly reviewing the backlog of outstanding drain accounts. There was about 175 drain accounts that required a review. Each account by year had to be reviewed thoroughly, looking at all the engineers' reports, invoices to ensure they align with all the expenses, and then reconstructing a lot of those associated schedules. At the same time, some of the maintenance and construction costs were also kind of lumped all together. So we did have to unwind all that, which was quite time consuming. We did engage with Spreets as they were one of the major engineers on most of our drains, and they offered some assistance on that as well. So this specific report outlines the results of the second half of this project, which is just maintenance. The construction portion went to council last year. So this specific component, there's about 194 maintenance projects that require billing. So you'll notice that there are drains appearing on the attached schedule, appearing multiple times. And this is just a result of repairs at different points of the drain. So there's a separate schedule for those responsible for those billings. Total to be billed there is $209,883.95. So as noted in the report, there is no interest being charged on any of this, as the delays were the responsibility of the township. A future report will be coming forward to council outlining the total projects collection and outlining any issues that we found that would require write-offs from council. Also in this, to ease the burden on landowners and improve some payment flexibility, staff is recommending a one-time exception to the township's existing debenture policy to allow maintenance drains to be debentured following the policy typically used for construction drains. I do also want to make note that these funds are not new funds coming into the township. They've been held on the balance sheet all these years. So the recommendation is to approve the unbilled maintenance bylaw, as well as grant the exception for maintenance drain billing, permitting landowners the option to debenture their bill in accordance with the township's drain billing and debenture policy to provide additional payment flexibility. But I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Johnny. Are there any questions further to that report? I know you guys have been working on this for a while, so I appreciate your efforts. Okay, seeing none then, we have a recommendation that the unbilled maintenance drain bylaw be approved, and further that an exception be granted for maintenance drainage billing, permitting landowners the option to debenture their bill in accordance with the township's drain billing and debenture policy to provide additional payment flexibility. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Brody, seconded by Councillor McKinnon. All in favor? And that's carried. So we're gonna jump back up and to 9F so that because we might be a while for the next bit. So with respect to the process, Johnny, I'll let you speak to what we implemented 2 years ago. And this would be the third year of doing the budget process where we have a by committee working along with staff. So I'll turn it over to you right now.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. Through to council. It's that time of year again, bringing forward the budget outline, the creation process for 2026. As council is aware, the budget serves as the main outline for how the monies that come into the township should be spent to maintain and improve the township. So attached to the report is a budget roadmap to highlight the overall process to develop the budget for 2026. So to kick off the budget process, staff is once again recommending launching a budget survey to engage residents in this year's budget process. The survey would be communicated through the township social media channels, township website, and the tax bill newsletter sent out next month. Building off of the prior year's budget working group success, as Sue alluded, or Mayor Clark alluded to there. Staff is also recommending that council appoint 2 councillors to the 2026 budget working group. The budget working group consists of 2 councillors, senior management, and the financial analyst. The appointed councillors to the budget working group will provide valuable insights into the budget creation process, engage in line-by-line discussions with staff, and an opportunity to provide valuable feedback on behalf of council. The budget working group serves as an additional tool to enhance education and transparency within the budget process. Councillor Kingma and past Councillor Nordoff both served on this working group in 2024 for the 2025 budget. In addition to the budget working group, consistent to prior years, councillors are still encouraged to schedule one-on-one meetings with myself, the treasurer, to review the budget in detail when that budget package becomes available later this year. So the recommendation is to receive the report as presented, and I'll leave the second recommendation to Mayor Clark to seek those councillors who are interested in joining the working group. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. So the first year that we took this approach, I believe myself and Councillor McKinnon were on, and last year you mentioned that Councillor Kingma and Councillor Nordoff, who's no longer with us. So, any recommendations for who should be on? Go ahead, Councillor McKinnon. Part of the budget committee. Okay. Okay, do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Kingma, all in favor? Yeah, I mean, they'll pick a rainy day, Mike, I promise you. Yeah. No, and for anybody that's watching online, the budget, whether it be here or at the county, especially when you're brand new, it's such a great education piece that Johnny alluded to, because you don't know what you don't know, and when they're going through line by line, it gets you to ask the questions and to see how everything sort of marries together in the operational part of the township. So okay, so we have a mover, a seconder, that was passed, and we're good there. So whoever the new counselor is, they're gonna have that opportunity to be at the table and I encourage people also to complete the survey, because the team and the committee do take your comments into serious consideration. So I appreciate the ones that have done it in the past and look forward to continuing your participation. Okay, next up is 9H, and that is in reference to the council vacancy, the appointment of a municipal councillor. And I'm going to turn this portion of the meeting over to our legislative affairs clerk, and that's Michael Barnier. Take it away.
Thank you. Through the mayor to members of council. Long expected report here, but just to give a background, on April 17th, 2025, Councillor Nordoff submitted formal notice of resignation effective May 9th, 2025, due to relocation outside the township. At the May 20th, 2025 council meeting, staff report outlined vacancy filling options under the Municipal Act. Council passed a resolution selecting option 2, appointment by selection process, and directed staff to organize and advertise accordingly. This vacancy was advertised from June 8th to June 27th, the township website, social media channels, and the Middlesex banner, which was the June 11th edition. In total, we received 6 qualified applications from David Bolton, Andrew Campbell, Eric Dennison, Lisa Early, Mary Ann Hendricks, and Carlos Trinidad. All applicants declared eligibility under the Municipal Act and the Municipal Elections Act. So during tonight's meeting, any member may nominate one of the applications. And a nomination must be seconded to proceed, and then we'll vote. A majority, simple majority will confirm the appointment. If no majority is reached, nominations will continue until one is achieved. Now, obviously, everything's, we have the option to go to closed session under section 239 to be identifiable individuals. This approach has been confirmed by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, as quite a few have went this route to fill vacancy spots. The only thing is that it does have to be voted in open session of council. So just after the next steps after the appointment, at a subsequent meeting, a bylaw will be, so the August 11th, a bylaw will formally appoint the successful applicant. The clerk will administer the oath of office, and that gets sent off to the ministry upon completion. And staff will coordinate orientation, including mayor's meetings with the mayor and department heads for the new applicant. If they're new, it'll be drinking through a fire hose a little bit, but we'll get them in and we'll get them right into the budget committee, it looks like. So there is a recommendation before you that has to be done. Like I said, you have the option for closed session if you would like.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Everybody's heard what the options are, and what's your pleasure? Councillor McKinnon? Okay, that's, do I have a seconder? Councillor Brody? All in favor? And that's carried. So it is 8:37, and we will go into closed session under section, where's my notes here? Here we go. To discuss personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and this is specifically, as we just mentioned, for the council vacancy, the appointment of municipal councillor. Could I have a mover to go into close at 8:38 p.m.? Or did I already do that? No, okay. That once I get the motion on the floor. Moved by Councillor McKinnon. We've already gone into closed, haven't we? Okay, so we're in closed. Are we offline? Yes, we voted to go into closed session. So are we